you've been having fun, I think. I have been. I hope you have been having some fun studying and practicing with Zen forms the beginning of this new year. And thank you, Debbie, for guiding us on Tuesday. I haven't listened to your talk, but I look forward to it. So it's always the living of it. And what I thought I would do today, since this will be for now our closing time in this subject, although we could obviously do this forever and will do it forever. I had brought forward last week the book Zen Rituals, Studies of Zen Buddhist Theory in Practice. And there's an essay in here by Paula Arai, who's a wonderful author, and I have her book. Actually, she's co-authored other things too, but this one is called Bringing Zen Home, The Healing Heart of Japanese Women's Rituals. Mm-hmm. So it seems like a really nice thing to do to integrate always. What are we doing here when we do Zazen and when we bow and when we do service and all the different forms? What does that have to do with everyday life? What does it have to do with healing ourselves and healing the world? And I'm guessing it was a question like that that set her off in doing this research, because she is a researcher that in Japan, the forms are in the monastery, and most of the people in the monasteries are men, but of course the women are very much part of this culture, and there are nuns, but what is it when women take it home, and i.e. we could say culturally now, if we're in the West, is when you take it home into your everyday life. What's it look like, and why are we doing this anyway? So I'm going to share some of what she has to say. If I can figure out which pages go first. And then I hope we have time to have a little discussion about it. So she interviewed lots of Japanese women. And the standout point is that for her, forms are rituals, and rituals are about healing. And healing is to make one whole, to return to wholeness. A woman said to her, "I know that I am healed when I am kind. I know that I am healed when I am kind." So I've certainly seen forms used, we can turn it against ourselves, we didn't get it right. I've seen forms be used that there's a right way to do this, and not always so kindly pointing out that you didn't get it right. But if the heart of it is kindness, what if the heart of everything we're doing, zazen, bowing, service, is an enactment of kindness? And then more and more, that's what we take home. And when we're home, and then we bring it here. So she says, Buddhist teachings are lived out in the ritualized activities of the home. She entered mature and devoted Japanese women's homes to see how they ritualize their lives. It seems, what she observed, is that all of life can be lived as a healing activity when we let everything be as it is. Birth and death, receiving life, just this moment, matter and time moving as one. We just keep entrusting ourselves to the moment. She says medicine and sickness cure each other, and the entire world is medicine if we accept and can enter into the flow of events. That's our job. enter. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Enter, enter, be entered. There's nothing outside of this. Just keep coming back. She says, in a worldview, a Buddhist worldview, where the interrelatedness of all things is the primary point of reference, the interrelatedness of everything. Healing means to be in harmony with this impermanent web of relationships that constitutes the dynamic universe. It is difficult, however, to comprehend, much less experience something so expansive. Easy to say, yeah, well, we're all interrelated. Of course we are. Me and the bugs in the universe but what is it to live it and to actualize it? Interrelatedness cannot be experienced deliberately. Rituals, however, can be a conduit to an intuitive experience of interrelatedness, an intuitive experience based on the body. It's all about body. And training the mind so that it remembers it's connected to a body and completely interconnected to this body and to this body and to the body of the world. Rituals can be a conduit to an intuitive experience of interrelatedness based on the body precisely because rituals can induce modes of being that transcend linear and rational logic and facilitate contact with the ineffable. Rituals can affect a person holistically by entering below the radar of cerebral cognition and by bypassing dualistic perception. It's why our little minds are always saying, well, that doesn't make sense. Why are we doing this? What does this mean? I mean, which is what our minds do, you know? It's like, and we need the answers to all of that. But it's not going to quite land us in what we're really, the depth of the question that we're asking. So what is this all about anyway? Rituals permeate the body-mind. Language and cognitive processing, on the other hand, often fall short of or even obstruct the way to experiencing the grandeur of one's ultimate context. My language is, we keep making it small. It's like my little mind is making it small all the time, and it's got lots of opinions and lots of hurts and lots of hopes and dreams, but mostly it feels, it's just chatter. It's just like, well, someone likes it, it doesn't like it, and it's just like, that's just what it does. It's like a little squirrel in here going around, and here we are in the middle of this whole amazing, like, birth, death, alive, whoa, and most of the time it's just like, whatever. I'm doing what I'm doing and going where I'm going, which is of course what we're doing, but I think that's why we do this, so we don't miss the grandeur that is so particular of just, we have a human life, for goodness sakes. Let's not waste it. And there is so much suffering in this world, and there is so much beauty, and how do we be of service, and how do we do it humbly, and how do we actualize that we and all beings are Buddha? And that's the Bodhisattva vows, which to me is fun. I mean, because there's no end to it, and then it ends up just like hit the bell and bow and practice kindness, and okay. Therefore, rituals do not explicitly purport to be healing, that do not explicitly purport to be healing rituals can indirectly facilitate a key dimension of the Buddhist healing activity, a non-dualistic experience of reality. So maybe we say we're doing service because it's a healing ritual, because it's in the context of Dharma and Sangha and Buddhist practice, and but we don't explicitly say that washing the dishes is a healing ritual. We're washing our minds and all beings clear and clean. I mean, the whole world is a healing ritual. It's bringing us into wholeness, returning us to wholeness, which is always here. Buddhism, she says, has 3 reference points: emptiness, Heart Sutra; boundlessness, complete interrelatedness. Well, 1, emptiness. 2, interrelatedness of all events and things in the universe. Causes and cause and effect is not linear. I mean, pay attention. Cause and effect is like if you do something, is we do good actions and hopefully there's good results. But any one moment, if you try to pluck it out of the web of existence and try to make it me, I did it, I didn't do it. We missed the whole world. There's 100,000 million causes and conditions that brought us to this very moment and brought this sunbeam coming in the window. It's that way all the time. And, which means everything is empty of inherent, of any independent inherent existence. So the universe is a flux, a vast flux of events and elements in an interdependent causality of relationships. Woo! It's alive, it's dynamic, and it stresses the concrete details of everyday life. If you live in a Buddhist monastery, work is part of your practice. Go to Tassajara this summer, we're going to do work practice. And we're going to do it the same way you do service in Zazen and the Zendo. That's the beauty of Zen, is it doesn't chop it up. You pay attention to chopping the carrots in the same way that you pay attention to bowing in a service. We are not someone who does something, but we are the entire world enacting life in this moment. So the relationship is with the universe in direct and intimate ways, which more and more, if you pay attention, will cultivate humility, coming down to earth. If you don't feel humble at least once a day, you're not paying attention. I mean, which is different than feeling bad about yourself or whatever, but just really humble. It's like, wow. And then how can I be of service? Because just gratitude to be here with everything. Practice is enlightenment. Enlightenment is a verb and an activity and a way of living, and we respond over and over, show up. That's practice. She says, everyday rituals are not dependent on permission, authority, or recognition. You are already a Buddha. Now maybe you think, when we're doing service, well, it looks like there's people who know what they're doing, and there must be some kind of hierarchy, and there's some authority, and because that's the way I look at things, because I'm rebellious. But you know, study the rebellious mind. It will keep you awake. I mean, maybe you don't have one, and then just enter. Nobody knows anything. We're all just helping each other, and we're doing it together. And if somebody's been doing it a little longer, that's really wonderful. Then we can share it and spread it so that more and more people. It's like, it's a beautiful experience to ring a bell, for goodness sakes. I hope everybody wants to learn. Just not even to learn, but just to have the experience of holding and the bell. It's just, wow. Rituals are a non-linear cognition of everyday experience, a manifestation and actualization of wholeness through the body that help expand our perspective and at the same time ask us to pay attention directly in this moment. That's all it is. It's body-mind training. It's like training a dog. I mean, really. You don't beat the dog, and the dog isn't bad. The dog is just being a dog. It's just, I mean, I think you understand what I mean. It's like a dog really I mean, my experience of a dog is it really wants to be in harmony with you. It just loves you. It just doesn't understand. and I really want to be in harmony with you, and I really love you. And lots of times, my karma just does not understand. It really goes into its own separate little loops, you know? So that's all this is just like, come on back, come on back. And then over and over, you know, it's like, I mean, I'm following this metaphor, is it becomes a little bit like, so now I kind of know how to come on back, but if a squirrel goes by, it's just like, I'm just going to go back to being my dog nature and forget that I have a relationship here. That's all. It's just my mind just got triggered, and it's a little squirrely, and you know, maybe it's fun, and it's fine to do that, but pay attention to cause and effect in a linear way. What is it you really want? Do you really want to catch the squirrel and eat it? I don't think so, but who knows? I'm not a dog. Being fully alive in the present moment. So she says there are 10 principles in the way of healing and living our lives as ritual. So I'm going to go through them a little briefly, but I can also really recommend her writing. And I don't know if you can get a PDF online. So I'll say the 10. But Buddhism loves lists because it was an oral tradition. And so you could teach through you could memorize the lists, and she's just following that tradition. Well, maybe I'll just say each one. First one is experiencing interrelatedness. Cultivating a heartfelt awareness that you're a part of everything. A network giving and receiving, breathing in and out compassion. Endless relationships, endless being released, and studying greed, hate, and delusion, not as a problem, but as I'm a human being, but also knowing how, when we're caught in that, I'm sorry, I'm the only one over here. And I hope you all are okay, but I'm taking care of me, which is, I mean, that's survival, and if we want the world to be the world that we all envision for ourselves and for our children and our children's children and beyond, let's just keep remembering, coming back, experiencing, not thinking it, but experiencing interrelatedness. 2, a living body-mind. Body and mind are one. She says Dogen took the phrase mind-body and switched it to body-mind. To actualize your true nature, the most effective way is through body practices. And then the mind will jump on the bandwagon. You train the body and you enter through form. Which always begins with an acceptance of what is. Sickness and problems are not an enemy. It's just how we relate to it. That's all. Body. I don't like it. I want it to stop. Yeah. Just bow. Come back. Number 3, engaging in ritual. Rituals affect the body, even if the mind isn't conscious of what is going on. Real life is messy and organic. Discourse about life is tidy and linear. At least that's what we want. We want to believe we're in control and we know what's going on. And ritual bridges the two. Ritual acts as if everything is alive and personal. It tries to make sense out of the raw materials of lived experience, which means we enter timeless time. Rituals are timeless time. Washing the dishes in ritual space is timeless time. Gardening in ritual space is timeless time. And she says repeatedly that there's research that the limbic brain changes in ritual space, so that there's increased sense of social cohesion and interconnectedness. So care about racial and social justice and inequality and all those things, and that there are homeless people and all the things that we care about in the war in Ukraine. And if we are interconnected, as we practice right here and as we dedicate the merit over and over, it does affect the whole world. I am absolutely certain of that. 4, good news, nurturing the self. Take walks, right, take responsibility for your own life. Don't blame other people. Your life matters, you are not alone. 5, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Enjoy your life. Find humor. Find joy in subtle things. We're cultivating a subtle and flexible body-mind. Bet you didn't know that. Your mind was saying, what is this Zen Buddhist service thing that we're doing? We're cultivating joy. And a happiness at being alive. 6, we're creating beauty. There is something so beautiful when you enter into the mandala of sitting zazen together and the mandala of chanting together. It's like the heart gets happy when it can enter into this social activity that you can do with everyone and harmonize your heart and your body and your voice and your mind. It's beauty in action, how the body moves and bows and holds a teacup. It matters. 7, it's about cultivating gratitude. One sees and creates beauty, wants to, naturally, when we see the enormous support we receive from the universe. She says the fact that we are alive is proof that the universe embraces us. So how do we enter it and be a part of it and give back to it and receive from it? The bigger the heart is, the more options there are. The bigger the heart is, the more options there are. Acceptance is growing the heart bigger so everything can fit in. An accepting heart is a fearless heart. You guys having trouble hearing? Yeah? Huh. Is it bad? Or it's okay? Okay, I turned up the sound a little bit. We'll see. Yeah. Okay, I'll try to talk a little bit louder, and the tape will be there too, because I do think this is wonderful. These are wonderful teachings. 9, it expands perspective. We're learning from whatever happens and seeing what goodness and wisdom and strength can be gained from each thing, especially in physical and psychological suffering. Since everything is interrelated, there must be something good going on here. What a different way to approach it. Otherwise, there would be no life, which is really different. Really, I've really been studying my own mind and noticing more and more about the studies that say what we do is we look at the negative. Maybe you said that too. Is we look at the negative because that's how you had to survive as a primitive person. If you didn't like scope out all the awful things the lion could do to you. And I mean, please don't be stupid, but really study how much we interpret things through the negative. And what if we interpret it instead through a sense of gratitude and wonder and joy? The foundation is the presence of letting go, of taking responsibility for how things turn out. What frame of reference are you bringing to interpret events? The bigger the frame, the more likely to bring healing. It is no one else's fault. Actually, it does say it's no one else's fault. It's nobody's fault. It just is, and take responsibility over and over. 10, embody compassion, the ultimate healing. Compassion is a combination of characters for loving affection and sadness. To understand but not be limited by suffering. We're not doing a spiritual bypass. We're not going over the top of it. I know that I am healed when I am kind. I know that I am healed when I am kind. Okay, so summary, she says, the posture of healing is to interpret things in a positive manner and to be grateful. The posture of healing is to interpret things in a positive manner and to be grateful, and to enter with total body, to do specific motions with our bodies which activate awareness of interrelatedness. Accepting interdependence, embracing emptiness, creating beauty, cultivating gratitude, embodying compassion. I saw a really good question in here well, maybe, why don't we divide into groups? We're going to have 10, why don't we have 15 minutes? Let's do groups of 3. Maybe each person you could time in the groups 3 or 4 minutes, and then you could talk together. How about if the jump off point is, I know that I am healed when I am kind? And what does that have to do with any of your experience of what you've been studying or learning this month about forms, or whatever you come in the door with?